Hello, my name is Brian Formiconi, and I've been asked to speak to you very briefly about servant leadership. Hopefully your curiosity will be piqued and you'll be interested in learning more about servant leadership. Fundamentally, servant leadership is the calling to act with moral and ethical integrity in all aspects of our life. This is something that is internal, that we feel an obligation to do. And should we feel this obligation, learning more about servant leadership will probably interest you very much, as it feeds upon this desire to act in all aspects of life with integrity. There is a book called The 7 Pillars of Leadership by Sipe and Frick, which talk about 7 characteristics of a servant leader. And it starts with being a person of good character. Certainly the first step in the journey of being a servant leader is finding this congruency with our own moral compass in wanting to do the right thing, and then understanding more about what servant leadership is in practice. They do elaborate through the other pillars that they talk about, including collaboration and moral authority, and what essentially these 2 pillars that they talk about boil down to is of particular importance often in the workplace. In our vocation, servant leaders will work very hard and in all of their actions try to better those that are under their purview, those that follow them. They will look to foster the development, both emotionally and intellectually and spiritually, of those people who report to them, and also the people that they report to, in their actions of integrity, of their actions of moral and ethical well-being, and through the understanding of the developmental cycles of human behavioral development. One can act as a leader to effectively guide followers through the path of becoming more emotionally, more intellectually, and more spiritually fulfilled. This is what a servant leader hopes to do, and the ongoing process asks the servant leader to be someone who will be a rock for those that they lead, who will serve the people that they lead by leading them to becoming better people. The effort of a servant leader is an effort in humanity. And not to sound melodramatic, but that is really what it is about. It's about being a good person. It's about spreading the will to do right and encouraging others to develop themselves and become fuller, richer, better people as a result. That does not mean that we have to be perfect as leaders, but it means that we have to try constantly to always do the right thing, to always be on the lookout for how can we do things better, how can we serve better. This involves a lot of humility on the part of the servant leader, because we have to acknowledge our own shortcomings, and in doing so we are able to better ourselves and grow. There is another book by C. Michael Thompson called The Congruent Life, and Thompson speaks about finding this harmony, this congruency in all aspects of life. The focus of his book is spiritual, but it also can be taken to emotional, intellectual, and even physical congruency. This is a very enlightening and philosophical book on how we as leaders have a duty to acknowledge the spirituality and spiritual growth of others, even if we ourselves are not spiritual, and if we are ourselves of spiritual persuasion, how to best develop and be in accord with our belief in God and serving God through work, through our personal life, through all aspects of life. And this leads to a much more fulfilling and richer life. The classic paradigm that is being broken is the divorce between work and personal life, and Thompson confronts that issue head on, and he does it in a very human and accessible book. And very briefly before I go, I want to bring one other book called Servant Leadership by Robert Greenleaf to mention. And this book is a very philosophical book about servant leadership. The late Dr. Greenleaf speaks in a manner that is very much in parable at times, and in a way that is in the best traditions of who he thinks is the ultimate servant leader, Jesus Christ. And he sees Jesus as the ultimate servant leader, and whether or not we choose to agree with that, his argument is very touching, it's very personal, it's very profound, and it's very intellectually stimulating. And it's a book I would highly recommend, as the message is to better ourselves, to be open to humility and learning from those who we lead, and also teaching those that we lead how to be the very best that we can to really live up to our potential as people. I hope that this video has sparked your interest in learning more. Please feel free to contact me if you have any questions. Thank you for your time.